Today, we're going to take a look at the Maven magnetic filters out in the field. So the Maven magnetic filters are a new magnetic filter on the market. They recently did a Kickstarter. It wrapped up around December. I received my set about mid-January, and I've already taken them out to the Rocky Mountain National Park. Had a great time using them out there. Everything seemed pretty cool with them. So today I brought them out to my favorite local park down here. We're going to set up here at this falls, get the filters out, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's in the kit, some of the features of the filters, and then we're going to do a little bit of testing with the filters to see how they perform out here. Like I said, I did use them in the Rocky Mountain National Park. They were pretty solid filters. There's some really cool features about them that I really like, which we'll touch on, and we'll go from there. So let's get set up, and we'll talk about what came in the kit and some of the features. Okay, so we're down here at Lower Falls in Hocking Hills State Park, and I sort of took a back way in here to sort of beat the crowds. It's a 3-day weekend this weekend, so there's going to be a lot of folks out. So we're going to work on getting our videos done here, and then we're going to head to lesser traveled parts of the park in a little while. So anyways, let's cover first what's in the filter kit. Again, this is a Maven magnetic filter kit that I got off of Kickstarter. They are now available on their website, mavenfilters.com, so you can order them now and get them without having been part of the Kickstarter. So let's talk a little bit about what you get in a kit. First, you get a magnetic lens cap right here. It's magnetic, fits on the front of the lens. You get an adapter ring, which we'll take a look at, but the adapter ring is how you attach the magnet filters to the lens element. You get a case. This is a hard covered case. There's also a soft covered case. I think you get the hard covered case when you order online. Because I was in a Kickstarter, I ended up getting both. Inside the kit, you do get the lens filter kit. Mine is an 82 millimeter kit because that was the filter size on the largest lens I wanted to cover, which is this guy right here, the 14-30 from Nikon. And it's an 82 millimeter filter size. But what comes with a base kit when you order the lens filter kit is you get a circular polarizer, you get a 3-stop ND filter, a 6-stop ND filter, a 10-stop ND filter, and then what they call sort of a lens protector, splash protector, UV filter for the front. These are all magnetic. They are color coded. So for example, the CPL is color coded blue, the 3-stop is red, the 6-stop is purple, and the 10-stop is orange. So once you memorize those colors, it's super easy to see which filter to grab and to see if one's already on your lens. I don't know about you, but a lot of times I'll put a filter on a lens and I'll walk away, swap lenses, and then wonder which lens is my filter on. Makes it super easy to see that setup. So that is what comes with the kit. And then, as I said, I bought an 82 millimeter kit. So some of my other lenses that might be like a 67 millimeter or something, a different size, filter size, you need a step-up ring to get up to that larger filter. So as add-ons, I also purchased a step-up ring. Essentially, this screws on the front of the lens and steps it up so you can fit an 82 millimeter filter on. And I buy extra magnetic lens caps just because once I get all the step-up rings on, the normal lens caps won't fit. So I need the magnetics to put on, and they just fit together like that. So that's what comes with the kit. And so the kit, similar to what I received off the Kickstarter, currently retails for about $4.99. And then you can add step-up rings and lens caps. It depends on the size of the lens cap you're going to get, but it ranges anywhere from like $25 to $30 for those. So if you need 2 or 3 step-up rings to get your lenses ready to take the filter size you choose, you're looking at probably roughly about $30 a piece for those, and then lens caps to put on another $30. So reasonably priced, competitive with the other makers out there, you know, price-wise. So Maven Filters is not the first set of magnetic filters out on the market. But there are a couple problems they aim to set out. And if you've not used magnetic filters in the past before, I am going to cover some of the features that just magnetic filters in general will bring to you, including the Maven filters. So first, and one of the big things they claim is tier 1 color quality, as in they won't cause a color cast. So a lot of filters out there, especially cheaper filters, you put them on, and while they do the job, they introduce a color cast to your image, which can be a little problematic. So they claim no color cast to their filters. And that's one of the things we're going to test out here today. We'll play with, and we'll take some images back home and see what they look like on the computer. But tier 1 color quality, that's one of the big features they bring. Now, These filters, this is CPL. These also have a hydroponic coating on them, so they sort of repel dirt and water, makes them easy to clean. You know, if you're out getting a little bit of spray, the water should just sort of bead off, and like I said, super easy to clean. So nice little color quality coating. These are supposed to be a little thinner and a little lighter than some of the other magnetic filters on the market. So being a little thinner could potentially help with vignetting, which we're also going to test out here in a little bit. Some other features that are pretty cool about the Maven magnetic filters is they're color coded. So for example, we looked at it before, but this is the blue, means it's a CPL, but the other filters have colors too. So that color coding is really cool, just because it just makes it so easy to find your filters. So that is a huge advantage, nice feature of these. They also have knurls on the side, little nubs, see if you can see it in there, like that, which help you know by feel. So if it's dark or something like that and you're just trying to feel what's on something. So the 3-stop, it has 3 nubs on there so you can know it's a 3-stop. The 6-stop has 6 and the 10-stop has 10. So pretty cool with that, with those little knurls. There are also, those knurls help make it easier just to turn and twist. They sort of just pop off and on, but it's, you know, nice rugged aluminum rings on them. So really cool on that. Helps keep the weight down as well. And the other piece, just this is in general with magnetic filters, is let's take a look at this here. So threaded filters so many times get stuck. I mean, I used to carry a pair of filter wrenches in my bag just for times it got stuck, because it happens so frequently. With the magnetic filters, they don't get stuck, so it makes it super easy to change. So let's take a look at this here. This in the case. So just pops on there like that. Just so easy, just pops on and off. And that's a huge advantage for a couple reasons. One, things aren't getting stuck and you're not wasting time at critical moments trying to get your filters unstuck from the front of the lens. Or if you stack filters, trying to get them undone. You know, most filters are trying to be thin just so they don't cause that vignetting. So getting them pulled apart sometimes is difficult, unscrewing them. So magnetic makes that super nice. Ever since I switched to magnetic, that's been just a joy. The other thing is, this is lazy photographer, but it's just easier to use magnetic filters. If I want to toss a CPL on, great. If I decide I don't like the CPL and I'm going to put an ND filter on, pop it off, put an ND filter on, super easy to change. Or maybe I toss a 6-stop ND filter on, and now I decide, you know, I really should have gone with a 10-stop. It's not this pain of hoping it doesn't get stuck while I unscrew it to put a 10 on. It's just pop the filter off, swap it back on, super easy. Like I said, magnetic filters in general, I don't see myself ever going back to screw-on filters. So the Maven magnetic is super cool, both for keeping it from getting stuck and making it nice and efficient in the field to switch what you're trying to do and stack different filter combinations without any difficulty. And finally, they come with a pretty cool warranty. They got a lifetime warranty against any kind of manufacturer defect or anything like that. And they added on a theft protection warranty or plan. And essentially, if your filters get stolen from your car, if you file a police report and submit the claim, they will supposedly replace your filters from a case of theft. Now, I try to not make it a habit of leaving my bag in the car with my camera gear because there's so much stuff in there I don't want to disappear. But it is sort of an interesting little perk to the Maven filters, so something to be aware of. So let's just demonstrate a couple things. Just if you're new to magnetic filters, it's handy to know. Not everyone's used them before, so I make sure I sort of cover some of the basics of magnetic filters. So let's bring this camera in just a little closer here. So magnetic filters, you obviously have to have something magnetic to put on the front of the lens in order for this filter to magnetize to. So what happens is they come with an adapter. And this adapter actually comes in with the lens filter kit. I may have missed that in my list of things that comes. This adapter here is an 82mm adapter made to fit onto an 82mm filter size lens. Like I said, I'm using a Nikon 14-30 today. So you screw this adapter on the front of your lens, and what that does, this screws into your normal filter threads, and what it does is this is what lets the magnetized filters connect. So magnet CPL, put that on, and it fits on there right like that. Now it's got a little ridge in here, so you can see the filter has a little ridge, so it helps keep it nice and secure when it goes in there. It won't really get jostled off, fits on there nice and snug. For the CPL, you might be used to having 2 pieces of metal on a threaded filter where they sort of turn. Well, this can just turn on the magnetic mount. Sort of helps keep it pretty thin, which is a nice advantage, and you can just turn it to adjust your polarization. So let's grab another filter. Let's say I want to add a little bit of, get an ND filter on here too, and I want to stack my ND filter and my CPL, because maybe you just want that slightly longer exposure. Today, this probably won't be a big case because the falls is running fairly quickly. But if I want to stack this, I can take my 3-stop, red, 3 little knurls on it, and I can put it on there right like that. So look how fast that is. Here we are. We show up, set the camera up. I decide I want to get my CPL on there. Boom, got my CPL on there. I start photographing. I'm like, I want a longer exposure. I'm just going to toss a 3-stop on. There we go. Maybe I hop on there and I see, oh shoot, I really didn't need that ND filter. Now things are looking too smooth. So just pop in there and just pop ND filter off, put it back in the case, and you're done. So that's sort of the advantage of the magnetic filters, is it just makes it so easy to swap filters, change your mind, add and remove. Super cool. Like I said, and that's done with the adapter ring. So I'm going to grab another lens here where I need to use a step-up ring, and let's just take a real quick look at that. Okay, so what I've got here is I have a 24-70 right here, which uses a different filter size. It uses a 72 millimeter filter size instead of an 82. So in that case, what you need to do is you need to put this step-up ring on, which just screws on. So 72 millimeter, and then there's the step-up ring that just screws on to the filter because it's 72 millimeter to fit that. You screw that on, and now this will accept an 82 millimeter filter. So let's take the ND filter. So we'll just test with the ND filter here. Pop it on, nice and easy. So now your 82 millimeter filters fit. Then your lens cap needs to be an 82 millimeter lens cap to fit on as well. So it's super cool, but that's how you get to use the larger filters with your other lenses that might have a smaller filter size. Use the step-up rings, and you can pick up those additionally. Okay, so I used these filters on my Rocky Mountain National Park trip, and it's what I used exclusively. They worked out really well. The color coding was awesome. I didn't notice any color cast problems, though I wasn't specifically testing for that, but when I got home and edited it, I didn't have any real problems with that. So that went well. They have the obvious advantage of magnetic filters, easy to change, easy to swap. The color coding is awesome. So far, I've been very happy with it. I've been shooting here a little bit this morning with them, and things are seeming good with them as well. So how about this tier 1 color cast? Well, I didn't notice it from the Rocky Mountain National Park. This is one of the reasons I came out here today, is to sort of test that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a little experiment, and I am going to take a photo with no filter, same scene, and then I'm going to work through the Maven filters, the CPL, the 3-stop, the 6-stop, the 10-stop, and then we're going to take these images back to the office and check for color cast, and we're going to see what it looks like. So we're just going to set up, same scene, no filter, CPL, 3-stop ND, 6-stop ND, 10-stop ND. We'll take them home on the computer, and we'll take a look and see what we think about color cast and see if it's living up to that. Okay, so we worked through that test, took a picture of the scene, no filter, with filters, CPL, 3-stop, 6-stop, and 10-stop. Like I said, we'll take those images back home, we'll check them on the computer, and see what the results were. So the other question I've gotten is vignetting when you're stacking filters or just with a single filter. A lot of times, so this is an 82 millimeter lens, and I'm trying to keep my filter size close to it. So as I start to stack, you can start to introduce vignetting. This happens with threaded filters as well. You know, the options are to go bigger or use the square filters on front to avoid it. In interest of lightweight and ease of use, though, a lot of times I try to get by with the filter for the largest size of the lens, in this case, the 82 millimeter. So the question becomes, is there any vignetting at the widest spot? So in this lens, a 14 millimeter with just a CPL. And then the next question is there any vignetting when you stack? So that's what we're going to test here today. Take a picture of this falls, and we're going to use we'll have the Maven adapter. We'll take a shot. We'll put the CPL on. We'll shoot at 14 millimeters. It's not going to be well composed. I'm just looking to see, do I get vignetting at the widest angle of this lens? And then we'll stack. We'll throw, say, an ND3 on, take another picture, and see if I get vignetting. That's been a frequently asked question I've been asked. If you're wondering, on the case filters, yes, you get some vignetting when you're stacked, and you need to sort of punch in about 16 millimeters. So if the Maven filters are vignetting stacked, then I will see about where that vignetting disappears and go from there. So let's set that up and play with that. Okay, so that moves through that. It does appear you get some vignetting when you stack the filters. We'll take a closer look in the office and talk about it a little bit. But out here in the field, it looks like you definitely get a little bit of vignetting, and you need to sort of go into 16 millimeters if you're stacking two filters together. One's not a problem, two starts to become a problem. So again, we'll take a look at the images in the office and talk a little more on that point there. Okay, we're back in the office now, and I've pulled the images off the camera that I took with the Maven filters, and I've pulled them in the Lightroom. These are unedited, haven't done any kind of correction to them, just so that we're getting sort of a comparison of the raw images to make sure my editing hasn't influenced anything like that. I did shoot these all with the consistent white balance 5600 that was set by Kelvin in the camera, so we shouldn't have had any kind of fluctuation in white balance as we worked our way through this. Now, there will be some subtle exposure changes just because I might not have had the histogram lined up exactly right, so some might be a touch brighter or a touch darker, and that's going to be more just because I didn't get the histogram completely set up exactly like it was before between exposures. So the way we tested this is we have a no filter shot. So this was with my 14-30 Nikon lens. No filter, did one with a CPL, one with a 3-stop ND, one with a 6-stop ND, and one with a 10-stop. So let's dive in here and take a look. The first image I have up on the screen, no filter, pretty clean, got the water coming through there, the sand. Bump over to the next one. This is with a CPL. You can see, obviously got a little more saturated, which is sort of what a CPL will do because it takes the reflection off, makes your colors a little more saturated. As far as color cast, I don't really see a big difference between those. So then let's move on to the 3-stop ND filter. So we got no filter, 3-stop ND filter. Here, this exposure is a touch brighter, but I'm really not seeing a color cast between those. Like I said, my no filter one's a little darker. The 3-stop's a little brighter. Like I said, I didn't get the histogram lined up just right, but color cast quality just looks really amazing. I don't see any real corrections that would need to happen. Let's jump over to the 6-stop ND filter. So we're going to go to no filter, 6-stop filter. Again, pretty clean. I don't really see any real problems with that. This one's a little brighter. Again, histogram's probably skewed a little bit when I captured the image. But yeah, it looks really good. So let's take a look at the 10-stop filter. There's 10-stop. This one's a little darker. Again, exposure settings. So let's look at no filter, 10-stop. So yeah, I would say color cast wise, these are really great shots. So the tier 1 color performance within the Maven line seems really good to me. Super clean, and that's really important for a filter. You spend all this money on a lens, and you put a filter on top of it. You don't want to have a setback with your lens performance because of a filter. So really good to see that. Just really good color performance. So tier 1, I would say Maven is living up to that based on this little field test. So the final test we did was vignetting within the Maven system. So what we did, we switched to the Maven adapter and we put a CPL on, checked for vignetting, and then we stacked, put a CPL and then a 3-stop ND filter to see what kind of vignetting we'd get. Because I'm at an 82mm, as you start to build that out with stack, there's a high chance for getting vignetting. It's not uncommon. It happens with threaded filters too. Just there's always been a lot of questions about, well, when does that vignetting happen and how obtrusive is it? Well, we start out here. This is just the 14-30 with the Maven adapter on it at 14mm. Take a look here in the edges. Everything looks nice and clean, just like we'd expect. The adapter is not going to cause vignetting. Then we put the CPL on. And like I said, I do think even with CPL, we get just a teeny bit of vignetting down here. Not problematic, just something to be aware of. You could easily just sort of clean that up with no problem. So just something to be aware of. There's a teeny bit of vignetting. Again, not problematic. I don't consider it a real problem at all. But when we stack the filter, so now I've got a CPL and a 3-stop ND filter, we have significant vignetting. Obviously, that's a problematic amount of vignetting to the point that you can't even see the corners of your image. Again, this is not an uncommon problem even with threaded filters when you start stacking. It's just unless you're using larger square filters to really expand that filter size in the front element of the lens, this is sort of a common problem if you're trying to do the exact filter size to your wide angle lens. So the next question comes, where does it get better at? So what I found in the past, and I jumped straight to this, my testing was 16mm on my 14-30 usually cleans up any vignetting problems when you're stacked. And sure enough, when you go out to 16mm, this is double stacked, all the vignetting goes away. So essentially what that means is if you're stacking a CPL and an ND filter out in the field, you're going to need to shoot at 16mm if you want no vignetting. Like I said, common problem. And it didn't necessarily go away with these Maven filters, but 16 cleans it right up. So my next test is, what's it look like at 15mm? So I dialed the lens back to about 15mm, and here we do still have some vignetting. It's fairly dark down there, like that lower left corner is pretty obscured, same with the lower right corner. So to fix this, you may have to crop in just a teeny bit, at which point you're probably further ahead just to shoot at 16mm instead of 15. So long story short is stacking filters at 14 millimeters on say a 14 to 30 millimeter lens, you do start to get vignetting problems when you start to stack. Just putting CPL on, very, very slight vignetting, not problematic in my opinion. When you stack, suddenly those corners are actually getting obscured. It wouldn't really be possible to fix it in something like Photoshop. So in order to get that vignetting to go away, you sort of need to just sort of zoom in to 16 millimeters. So you're sort of losing that 14, 15 millimeter focal length. 16 is perfect right there. You know, we'll pull the 16 back up there again. Looks good. Still a plenty wide shot. I don't think it's problematic. And I think it's really just the trade-off of not using a bigger, bulkier system. Again, this is not a specific problem to Maven. I've seen it with case filters. I've seen it with screw-on filters. Just wanted to test it because sometimes, you know, you never know. They'll get them just thin enough that it's pretty great. Yeah, so that's the vignetting story for the Maven magnetic filters. So that about wraps things up. Maven has made a real strong entry into the magnetic field market. It's great to have another option out there. And if you haven't considered switching to magnetic filters, you really should. Some of the reasons Maven touts just on magnetic filters in general, the ease of being able to switch back and forth, taking them off and on. Maybe you grab a 3-stop, you want a 6-stop instead. You're not having to unscrew. It's just pop off, pop back on. Makes it easy to stack the filters. No more getting filters stuck on the end of the lens. So you just easily pop on and off. So really great efficiency improvement out in the field. The benefits of magnetic filters to me is just really high, and I really can't imagine shooting without magnetic filters. It's just made everything so much easier for the lazy photographer like me. So another feature Maven touts specific to their filters is the Tier 1 color performance. Tested that in the field, brought the images back here in the office to take a look, and I was impressed. Looked good from no filter to CPL, 3-stop, 6-stop, 10-stop. Things looked great. Color quality seemed awesome. I didn't see a huge color cast of any direction that would need any kind of correction. So that's awesome. That's one of the super important things with the filters. If you're going to put it in front of that expensive lens, you want really high optical quality. And the fact they got the color performance correct just goes to show there was a lot of time and thought put into these filters. So that's awesome. Good job, Maven, on that. And in color-coded filters, yes, please. That is just such an amazing thing. I can't count how many times I've put a filter on a lens and they're normally black, put it in a bag, and you go to switch lenses and you're like, where's my CPL? And it's like, is it in the case? Is it on my lens? For this case, blue equals CPL. Super easy to see where it's at, which lens it's on. Super easy to grab the right one out of the case and just pops right on there. So the color coding is amazing. Just really makes things easier out in the field. Less fumbling, less looking for filters. So love the color coding. Super awesome. So yeah, if you're ready to make the switch to magnetic filters, I think Maven should be in your list of considerations when you're looking, and do some research on them and see if they're a good fit for you. So if you liked today's video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see future landscape photography content from me, including tips, tricks, behind the scenes, mini gear reviews like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any landscape photography content from me in the future. And thank you for watching.